So what do you mean? Tell me then. Explain me. Maybe you can explain me which mistakes we make regular.
Well, constantly turning the ball over in your own half, playing the ball out from the back, getting mugged, chances coming on the back of it, counter attacks when you're outnumbered, giving up endless chances in your own stadium against the team's biggest rivals. With the greatest respect, I've been seeing that for so long now.
Got it! Yo, what's up, guys? Forever United, episode 3. We're back. Obviously, we had a game yesterday, which I needed some time, obviously, to just kind of gather myself, you know. It was genuinely just exhausting to watch. So yeah, of course, we've got a lot to talk about. Nothing too different from, I guess, what I've always hopped on about. So yeah, man, it just wasn't good. Still not good. No positives really to take from what we saw last night. And yeah, let's talk about it. So my first thing already, I mean, where's Bruno in all of this? You know, nowhere to be seen, as you can see in the photo, and I just think it's unacceptable. Honestly, this is the captain of the team. You need to be putting yourself in difficult positions. You know, I don't think this is a bad starting position, to be honest. You know, they look very organized, but it's not something we can't play ourselves out of. I mean, you know, they're literally in a straight line. So the problem we always have is the midfield. We always have two people that are showing off, the very same two people. And they have to come out of situations where there are 2 men on them or 3 men on them. There's no triangle whatsoever. Zero triangle. Ever. Because Bruno has to run away. But anyway, let's move on. Diogo. A lot of people have been praising this guy for his performances. I wouldn't necessarily say he's ever been a huge problem, or I definitely do think there are better players. I think yesterday he was good going forward as usual. He wasn't necessarily a problem. He wasn't, you know, he was moving very well. But the biggest problem is in defense. I don't understand why we keep letting this guy off. In defense, our wing backs are nowhere to be found. We have our centre backs ball watching. I mean, it's so elementary, genuinely. It's like we're watching under 8s. So we usually have centre backs just staring at the ball. You have guys creeping in far post every single game. It's been happening for years. This is not a yesterday thing. This is not a Brighton thing. This has been happening for years. You know? And it's genuinely unacceptable. I don't care what Diogo can do going forward. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's why I just didn't like the Wan-Bissaka decision. Like letting him go, it didn't make sense to me. Yes, the dude is not necessarily what we want going forward, but the guy is solid on defense. That's what you need your defenders to do. First and foremost, I don't care about your Alexander-Arnolds and all the wing backs and how football's evolved. First and foremost, defenders need to be able to defend. And he was the most solid most trustworthy we had one-on-one. Nothing was going to get past it. But it's always just a positional thing. It's always just the exact same. It's not even mistakes anymore. It's the exact same. I don't even know what to call it. But you can't have professional dudes ball watching. You cannot. You know? And I haven't been impressed. I haven't been impressed with Diogo defensively, because if we take into account the goals that we concede, he is always too far up. You know? And the nice thing about Luke Shaw was that he knew how to get out of tight spaces, you know, but the timing of his movement was good. You wouldn't just see him pushing up forward, you know. He was technical, you know, and in the small spaces he can at least touch one, receive, you know, and move with the play. So if anything were to happen, he's at least close to what's going on where the ball is on the left side of things, you know, on the left flank. So positionally, I think this guy's he's flawed. Honestly, that's just my opinion. You know, I genuinely think also just having a left-sided, a right-footed player on the left wing, you don't necessarily have a choice. But that's why do we not have a choice? You know, over the past couple of years, 600 million's been spent, but the squad is just not. It's just way too thin. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But anyways, Kobe. Guys, you know, I don't want to talk too much about Kobe. He started off very shaky yesterday. I must admit that. He seemed, I don't know, not like himself, but picked up, started developing, of course, in the game. And I have no complaints about this kid, man. Honestly, he's such a young kid. We expect so much of him. And he is. There's no game where you say he was terribly disappointing, you know? Um, Honestly, this boy can have 10 more bad performances in a row, but he's still not going to be as bad as how Bruno has been over the past year and a bit now, you know? This kid is so solid, he's so reliable, he's so technical when he needs to be. Of course he's going to make mistakes. I mean, the ball is being given to them from the back. No one is speaking to them. We're going to get to Casemiro. No one is speaking to the ball carriers, the two ball carriers that we have. And I mean, if we're expecting Casemiro to be able to turn players like De Bruyne, to turn players like Bernardo Silva can in the midfield, at his age and with Casemiro's technical ability, he is a solid player, has always been. But for us to expect that from him, we already have a big problem. That's where Bruno's supposed to be picking up the ball. I mean, Pogba had no problem with being in any situation. You can give it to him 3-on-1, 4-on-1, it does not matter. He's able to at least turn, win a free kick, do something. But of course, with the pressure that Casemiro was expecting and Kobe were expecting, you will sometimes make mistakes, you know. But once again, there are no triangles. This boy has to basically just do a man's job, honestly. It's not fair, but there's basically nothing I can say about this boy. I mean, he has my heart, honestly. Consistent. He really puts in a shift. No complaints, man. Kobe's amazing, man. He's too good. Then man, Bruno just disappears, guys. I'm sorry, man, and he just gets let off the hook. You know, I think we always going to have a huge problem in the midfield as long as Bruno is basically unmovable. There's no one that's pushing him in the starting line. There's just no one, according to them, who is as good as him. He's an untouchable. He's an untouchable. And the thing is, if you really think about it, okay, cool, we're going to have Ugarte, we're going to have probably Kobe, right? And that's the issue. Like, that Bruno space is critical. It's critical. It's critical. And as long as he's going to keep playing because, he can release a good pass or two some games, it's going to hurt us. It's going to hurt us. Because in my thinking, it would be Ugarte, Casemiro, and then you play Kobe ahead of them. But because things can't be shifted, because Bruno's always just the problem there, then the midfield is not going to be able to get strong. Yeah, man. The boy really, yeah, he screwed up yesterday, man. He screwed up and he knows it. But like I said before, for us to expect Casemiro to be silky smooth technically and release passes, he does that because he sees nothing is happening, because Bruno doesn't do it. So Casemiro is the one that tries to unleash passes. He tries to break between the lines with the passes. He tries to go behind the line with the passes. But now it's expected of him because he's his job is to break down play, and that's what he's amazing at. But he's turned himself into a deep lying playmaker, which is good development on his end. But I mean, where is Bruno? Where are the creative players? They are nowhere to be found. And that's why I keep saying, guys, like, Bruno isn't what everybody thinks he is. He genuinely isn't. He cannot get past the player. But after how many games are you able to identify, oh my goodness, we have a striker? Rasmus played almost how many games last season? He played gang games. This guy does not cross the ball. He plays with his head down. Already he's not a person that sees the next move. He reacts on everything that is happening in the moment. And that's a pro, guys. That's already the biggest flop. He'll never play a pass that's, oncoming as things are going on. Things are thought about as he is doing them. He has no foresight, and for them to not have any shots on target, for them to have between the two of them less than, honestly, 7-8 shots between the two of them, it's unacceptable. They are the creative players. They are the guys we're relying on. They are the guys that need to take the pressure off Casemiro and score goals. Casemiro's flops are not going to be an issue if they score 5 goals, if they're scoring 3 constantly, if they're scoring 4. We have to snatch the game 5-3, 5, whatever it means. But of course things are going to be highlighted because there is a lack of creativity from every single person there. Hence I was saying, for us to expect creativity from Casemiro is already the biggest misuse of the guy. So Rashford honestly realizes way too late that, oh my word, there's a striker. These guys still don't know that Xerxes is not a guy that's on the last man looking for the ball, the cross in between the keeper and the penalty spot like Højlund. He's like the false 9 sort of striker that wants the ball from beyond the box. He wants to build and be part of the touch and the play and the involvement, the creativity of the goal. But still they don't cross balls in 45 degrees. This guy's literally Virgil's height, and only now they're crossing the ball in the air. We just have a huge problem. The manager is costing us. It's not going to get better. This club is going to finish 8th again, if not worse. There's absolutely no ways there's Champions League, and this guy's got all the players that he's wanted. All of them. A whole team, 12 players. His signings. Ones that we paid way too much money for. Number one. Now that there's a bit of structure, it's decent. We're paying decent money. But still there are free agents that are out there that have been failed to be identified or spoken to. Ivan Toney was a must. You have to have a conversation with Ivan Toney. Simple as that. I don't care that there's 2 other strikers. That's almost the quick fix in the forward department. He's definitely gonna be a threat. He's definitely gonna not accept. You know, there's just certain players that play for their own pride. You know, never mind the tactics, never mind everything else. You know, there's just a pride about them. So you know he's a player that's going to give it to them at halftime if dudes are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Those are the type of characters that are needed. Not these nice, you know, young boys that are so sweet and, you know, so it's down to the manager again. I love the 2 strikers that we have. I wouldn't trade them. But there needs to be something that's just more aggressive up front. That's got experience. That knows exactly what he's doing. Where he's going to get the goals. How he's going to get them. That's going to guarantee 15 at least goals during, like, you know. Come on. This little kid here. Collier. No ways, man. There's no ways he can come on second half, have a better game than the captain, Bruno. There's just no justifying it. This kid was involved, man. This kid was... It seemed like he's been playing with these guys for a long time. Why is it that the kids are the ones that will have a debut and shine? Over and above senior players, over and above the captain, over and above wingers that have been there for how many years? That have come through the academy. It makes absolutely no sense. It's because him and Kobe genuinely just have a pair and just are guys that have the DNA ingrained in them. This kid needs to be starting more, and that's the thing. They're never gonna put him ahead of Bruno. They're never gonna pull Bruno off for this kid, you know. What we saw yesterday was really special. Those few minutes that he really impacted the game, put a foot in, just try, you know, in the situation of Casemiro being pulled off early. That's huge, you know. That's a sink or swim moment, you know, against Liverpool. That's tough, man, and he really held it down. Respect to this kid, honestly. You know, he's honestly one that we need to watch and take good care of. Not have a story of him wanting to leave next season and go play for Ipswich, you know. So congrats to this kid, honestly, to him and his family. That was obviously probably a huge moment for them. And it's good to see like our kids coming on and really just playing with no fear, you know. Because that's what it's about, honestly, man. It's looking okay. I like his involvement. I like how deep he's coming in to receive ball. I like how he's just always got a foot in the game. He's touching the ball to guys. He's, you know, his involvement is good. But just his attacking positioning is not good at all. I mean, you have people like Ollie Watkins that's doesn't need to touch the ball 3 times anymore. You know, he's developed so much now that he just needs to be in and around the area. And he just will whack the ball. He knows where the goal is. You know, that's what you need your strikers to be. They need to have more than 3 dimensions to them. He needs to be able to have aerial ability in the air, of course. He needs to be able to take guys on, of course. He needs to be able to get behind the lines, of course. He needs to be able to like get in the tap ins, and you need to just give him the ball and for him to hold it up and try something. Win a corner, win a free kick, win something, get a goal. So with Zerk, I think there's 2 things to him, and we saw them yesterday. But as the big man up front, you need to demand the ball in the air. As big as he is, 6'4", that's Virgil's height, guys. And he's not crying enough to get the ball in the air because why? Because no one actually has any complaints when this guy's doing what he's supposed to do. Majority of the time, he's genuinely assisted this team. You know, his first year he was really, really, really good. Last year was tough. But there is so much expected of him from such an old player, from someone that's I'm not saying he's lacking motivation or anything, but he's done it all. He's done it all. So it's sad that, you know, United fans will always just turn on someone, turn on everything but the actual problem. I mean, the manager is literally destroying this club. So I'm just not happy with this guy's performance. I didn't think he was necessarily terrible yesterday, but he was not good. He was not good. And how many excuses can we have for this guy? Why does nobody look into how much of a huge role he has to play in this team? No matter what, every single game, he needs to be standing out. He needs to be standing out. I mean, for him to wear that armband and basically dishonor the badge already should tell you that he's not the right guy. Not for the captaincy. I mean, I don't understand who decides all of this. I would much rather have someone that's quiet, like myself. I was very quiet, but there is no ways you could look at me performance-wise. Not to say I'm gonna score goals every single game, but performance-wise, I will stand out because I'm at least putting in a shift. We all have off days, but an off day is not being able to play at all, especially guys that are getting paid so much money. Nah, it's unacceptable. Honestly, it's unacceptable. And it starts with the captain. It starts with the manager. It goes to the captain. And they both basically don't necessarily see anything wrong with either's performance, which is already a huge issue. Someone needs to be called out here. Complaints about the boy. Honestly, he looked very sharp. He just wanted to go. And I think playing him on the right side is actually a good thing on our end because he doesn't have this, you know, left wingers how they are, right-footed left wingers. They collect the ball, they can use their right foot to cut inside and then play it backwards. But because he was on the right side, I think it would be very awkward to kind of play the ball backwards with your right foot. So he was kind of direct, I liked him. He had a lot of energy. I don't have any complaints about him. Again, he's one of our young players and we're expecting so much from him. Let's actually just break it down. He's playing in a derby, a huge derby. You know, already is in the starting lineup. Where are the senior guys? Where are some of the older guys, you know? Why are they not stepping up? So already their bravery is commendable. How they've pushed to be in the starting lineup has been commendable. Also Diallo, you know. So I genuinely have no complaints about this guy. He kind of faded towards the end, but he wasn't so bad. Honestly, he was not the problem at all. He wasn't the problem at all. Mateus looked very solid to me, you know. He just looks like he fits in. Um, he seems very comfortable. He's just sure of what he does. Um, Obviously, besides the goals, I think he looked pretty. He's not scared to receive the ball. He's very strong. He's got a presence about him. I don't know. I think he's going to be something special for this club. Honestly, if he um can just find his feet and kind of be the leader at the back, you know. Um, I think he could have a good impact on hopefully the comeback of his team soon. Sandro, I don't know what it is. He's probably tired from all the Copa America, you know, and that's back to back. World Cup. I don't think they've actually rested really, you know. So of course I'm gonna give him a pass because I love this guy. I think he is, if I look at one person that deserves to wear this badge, and that reminds me of my favorite ever player, Waza. I just see that Rooney attitude in him, you know, there's no smiling about. It's strictly business, you know. So he's someone I would consider as a captain, honestly. I like his demeanor. He just represents that red devil, you know. Um but yeah, he's been looking a bit shaky recently. Um Not very confident as he used to be. And I don't know, he just seems very put off with the skills. Um, yeah, man, he's been seeming a bit shaky recently, but you know, I'll give him a pass. This is my World Cup winner, our only one. Yeah, we can't keep saying Diogo was good and so is good at the back. I think collectively it just never seems to work. There's just no connection, there's no communication. Everyone is just flying around and ball watching, you know, which is just a terrible combination. A combination for disaster, you know, recipe for disaster. So I think just as a collective, you know, we can't have some defenders and back post, we short of defenders because others. Personally, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't completely put off by his performance, but I still will always feel that one Bissaka void there, you know, not because I liked him particularly, but it's just I feel like it's a position was okay, you know. Um, so at some point or the fans need to look at the management, you know. Moving to the boy Rash. So the first thing I noticed about Rashford was his attitude. His attitude was, I haven't seen that in months, honestly, probably over a year. I'm very concerned about this guy because he just doesn't, he lacks soul, he's just like a zombie. He doesn't have a spirit, he's like, doesn't have any emotion or character, you know. I don't know if he's like trapped in this role model sort of mold from way too young, but it's almost like football isn't something he enjoys, you know. But what I saw yesterday, first thing was just him clapping, him, you know, just being bouncy, you know. I saw a little bit of character and positivity. He seemed keen to want to play, and that's a good sign against obviously a team that plays, you know. So That was good. First few minutes seemed okay. Um, but at the end of the day, still unacceptable. Honestly, we can say he's one of the seniors in the team. He's old now. He's supposed to know what is expected and what is required of any footballer, let alone a United footballer. Any professional footballer. You're a top 1 percentile or top percentile of people that in the world. Um, that are earning mega bucks just to play, just to do something that we love. You know, so I don't think he's fighting hard enough. I don't think he can go past what we've seen. That's always been my opinion on him. More, we need more from him. And the thing is, I don't think he can give us more. Him and Garnacho only switched wings probably almost in the 30th minute. I mean, these guys have no, I don't know, the intangibles in football that you kind of have to think about yourself sometimes. The coach doesn't have to tell you, okay, guys, I mean, you need to cause both wing wing backs problems. There's just an identification crisis in this team. Because even if Garnacho's having a good game against the left back, nobody's gonna continue with. Not too much you can honestly talk about, because we'll be going around in circles. The gist of the matter is this manager is not good enough to manage this club. There are no previous I don't know accolades or anything that he's done previously to getting this job. I don't want to hear about FA Cups because 2013 Wigan won the FA Cup and got relegated. Honestly, we can't act like it's a huge trophy, one that's on the list of people wanting to win when the season starts. This is like a consolation that we just showing people that the standard is very low. Once off games are not, what about the 38 games that are played in the season? Where is the consistency there? Where is that hunger every single game there? Where is the refusal to lose every single game in the 38 games of the season? Never mind everything on the outside. So this guy has exposed himself, guys. Not just this year. Last year he exposed himself. He had a decent first season. And we were still lucky. Liverpool is not where they were supposed to be. Arsenal was still fixing their things. Chelsea, is always just going through management issues or whatever they were going through. So the top 4-5 teams still were not where they were supposed to be. United was still losing a whole lot of games. Way too many games. Home and away. Getting punished by everyone. But we managed to make top 4. Cool, they're supposed to build from that. If not fourth again, you need to be top 3 then. Same mistakes, poor signings. No change. There's no structure in what this guy's trying to do. I don't care that they don't understand him. There are foreign coaches that don't speak the language. Ancelotti was able to get through what he needed from Jude in the very first game. And this guy, he's so deluded. He's not aware of what's going on. It makes no sense how he has the backing of the club. And this club was supposed to honestly come through. I was shocked when they allowed him to stay after the FA Cup win. Honestly, I was happy that he was leaving. For them to honestly allow him to sign another year with every single thing in all departments being swept up and cleaned up, from a technical directors, to it doesn't make sense how they can still back this guy. I don't care if they think the perfect manager is not there, they're gonna interview all these guys. They had to replace this guy. Even if Thomas Tuchel or anybody else could have, honestly, can do a better job. I don't care if it's Brendan Rodgers. This guy genuinely does not know what he's doing. Brendan Rodgers has gone back to Celtic and still managed to maintain some sort of identity. This guy literally has no identity, guys. We can't say Ajax this, Ajax that. Ajax is a systematic club like Barcelona. They already have the way they want to play from the and you see the correlation from the youngsters, from the kids all the way to the top. Ajax has always been like that, guys. We can't act like this guy came there, he changed how Netherlands football. Come on, guys. This job has always been too big for this guy. We cannot hide behind that. And he's gonna continue to do the exact same thing, make the exact same mistakes. Guys, anything this guy touches, you can't have Ronaldo and still you have an issue with the attacking. You're still not catering to his needs in order for him to make things easier for him to score. He has to make things happen himself. That is a tactical flaw. There is a huge block in tactics with this guy. And it is impossible to get through. We have seen the best of him, which was the luck in the 4th place. There's just no seeing past anything else, guys. Let's stop blaming the players, because the players are picked by these guys. He is picking the wrong players to be brought into this club, and he is keeping the wrong players within this club to still maintain the DNA of the club, to teach the youngsters or whatever. All your Maguires, all these guys the club is getting rid of everything but the problem. I mean, even McTominay could have come on yesterday, half time. But it's never something this guy would have done, because he wants him to play the last 10 minutes every game. And that's a guy at least that's going to play with some sort of heart, you know. Not that he's going to change a 3-0 deficit, no. But now we now looking to kids, because our squad is thin, because we don't have players that are... This guy just needs to go, guys. There's no two ways about it. There's nothing that he can do to change anything, honestly. There is no understanding that needs to be glued together between the players and him. There's a huge problem with majority of the players that are in this club. They are not good enough, number one, and they just not football minded enough. There's no ways we can be the 15th best team in the league, football playing wise. If you watch football, guys, Brighton is better, Wolves are better, Fulham can play better than United. Guys, every single team has some sort of target man, has some sort of constant threat that's going to give them something. And they know and they can identify that. How many times does Mitoma touch the ball in a game? Because they see this guy is an issue, this guy is a problem. Give it to him, just get the ball to him, get the ball to him. Rashford and them are nowhere near these guys. And they've been in this league for a very long time, and these guys are all coming in and doing wonders. So I have no idea when you guys are going to start looking at this guy and blaming this guy. Stop blaming Casemiro. Stop blaming all these other players. The players are not good enough. You're not going to see past what you want to see past. Their so-called prime has long gone. And I always maintain the only team we need to follow model by or with, whatever you want to say, is Madrid. Madrid don't need a guy to come in and be a master tactician.